lesson for the speed topic. So I'll introduce you to very challenging questions. So you must use all your speed knowledge you learned from the previous lessons. So let's go. James and Peter cycled along the same 50-meter route. James took 2.5 hours to cycle the 50 kilometer, and Peter started to cycle 5 minutes after James started to cycle. And Peter caught up with James when they had both cycled 15 kilometer. James and Peter both cycled at constant speed. This is important, and work out Peter's speed. So our final goal is finding out the Peter's speed. And then this question is really tricky because you've got all different information, and then they didn't give you direct information that we need to find the Peter's speed, right? So first we need to organize the information we got from the questions. Let's understand the situation by drawing. You've got a 50-kilometer whole journey. Then 15 kilometer is important because James started first, then 5 minutes later Peter catch up James at the distance of 15 kilometer. This is important because they meet together. Now let's see. Now we need to talk about James first because we've got all the information. The distance, first of all, when James traveled 50 kilometer, it takes 2.5 hours, and then using this one we can calculate James' speed. So James' speed 50 divided by 2.5, that is 50 divided by, they're changing to times and mixed number into improper fraction, and we can see his speed is 20 kilometer per hour. So now we need to focus on this statement. It said constant speed. That means speed is all the time the same. So he always traveled by the same speed. Now let's talk about the Peter. Peter is a bit tricky because we don't know the time. Only we know is he traveled 5 minutes late. Then now our distance is, it says it's 15 kilometer. Then to find out this Peter's speed, we need to calculate our time. Now, to find how long did Peter take to get to the 15 kilometer, then now we need to think about the James. As we know that James' speed is 20 kilometer per hour all the time, but it's the same as when he traveled up to the 15 kilometer, he traveled the same speed. So when he traveled 15 kilometer, then his speed is the same 20. Then we can figure it out the time. How long did James take to get to the 15 kilometer? So his time is distance divided by speed. So distance is 15 divided by 20 is 3/4. 3/4 hour means it's 45 minutes. That means James took 45 minutes to get 15 kilometer point, right? Then, as we know that James took 45 minutes to get to the 15 kilometer, then we knew that Peter took 5 minutes less than him. So now let's write down 45 is James' time. We need to take away 5 minutes. Then that is 40 minutes. So Peter takes 40 minutes to get 15 kilometers. So now let's calculate Peter's speed. So his distance is 15 kilometers. Then he took 40 minutes. I'm gonna write 40, so I made a mistake. What mistake did I make? I always said it's really easy to make this silly mistake. So can you notice my mistake? That is, I didn't convert my minutes into hour. So that's why I've got a very silly answer, right? So now let's go back to our speed. So now I need to change the 40 minutes into hour. It's 2/3 hour, right? So make sure. This is very common mistake. So now you divide the 15 by 2/3, not 40 minutes. then 15 divided by 2/3. Then let's calculate it. Times it, then you upside down, then you can see you've got a 45 divided by half. That gives you 22.5 kilometer per hour. That is Peter's speed. Now another question. Train A travels at 60 km per hour and it leaves Bell Station at 16:34. Then train B is a different speed, 30 km per hour. Then starting time is different, 16:40. Now, what time will train A and B have covered exactly the same distance? What is it? So two trains, they depart at a different time and they've got a different speed. So one of the train actually they caught up. Then you need to find the time when they cover the same distance. So now let's write it down. Train A, what we know is speed is 60 km per hour. That we need to identify our DTS. Then T is, we don't know the time, but one thing we know about it, it's depart 14:34. Then train B speed is 30 km per hour. This one is a bit slower than time. So traveling time we don't know, but departure time is 16:14. Now you can see there's a 20-minute gap between two trains. So that means train A departs 20 minutes late. Now, but one very important thing about this question is put the stomach same distance. That means distance of train A is the same as distance of train B. This is the key point for our question. Then let's calculate our distance of the train A. Distance is speed times time. So now speed is 60, then time we don't know. That's why I want you to put the time as x. Then train B. And then we can calculate the time of train B because you can see 20-minute gap. That means train B actually travels 20 minutes more. So x plus 20 minutes, make sure you need to change this into fraction. So that is 1/3 hour. So now you can put time of train B as x plus 1/3. So now let's calculate the distance of train A. 60 times x equals distance of the train B is 30 times x add 1/3. Now we've got equations. All we need to do is we need to simplify the equation and find our x. Now let's say 60x equals, now you distribute 30, yeah, that to expand your bracket. Now 30x plus 30 times 1/3 is 10. Now you need to move your 30x to the other side. So 60x take away 30x, that gives you 10. Now you've got a 30x equals 10. Now your x is 1/3. So 10/30 is 1/3. 1/3, make sure it's hour, right? So x is 1/3 hour. That means how many minutes? Yes, right, it's 20 minutes. So the train A is x, so we know that train A traveled 20 minutes. That means train B travels, so now 1/3 is, we know that it's 20 minutes. That means 40 minutes. Yeah, now we need to find the time they meet together. So you need to choose train A will be, that doesn't matter. So let's talk about train A. Train A departed 16:34. Then traveling time is 20 minutes. That gives you, after the 20-minute traveling, so it's 16:54 is the time they meet. They cover the same distance. Now this is our final question, and it has got 3 separate questions, and it's going to be tricky. you need to use all your speed knowledge and organize all the information step by step. Let's see. A swimmer, yacht, and canoe have a race to reach the island from the positions shown. Then a swimmer's distance from the island is 1,000 meters. Then canoe's distance is a 2,500 meters. So you've got a distance. Let's draw it. They've got a different distance. And yacht is the same distance with the canoe. It's 2,500. Then swimmer travels at the speed of average speed of 1 kilometer per hour. Then now let's organize our information. What we know is distance. I'm going to write the distance as a kilometer because the swimmer's speed is 1 kilometer per hour, right? So we need to unify our unit. So distance is 1 kilometer, and as you can see, speed is 1 kilometer per hour. Directly we can find the hour. So the time for the swimmer is easily we can say it's 1 hour, right? So organize your information. Then what else do we know? We know that canoe distance is a 2.5 kilometer, and then the yacht is 2.5 kilometer. This is what we've got. So organize your information. Then let's see our question. If the yacht reached the island 10 minutes before the swimmer, we know the swimmer took 1 hour to reach the island, right? But yacht actually it took 10 minutes before. That means 10 minutes less. Then how fast was the yacht traveling? That means how fast is the speed, right? Our final goal is finding the speed of the yacht. Let's talk about the yacht. Distance of yacht is 2 kilometer, and then time is, we notice that it's 10 minutes before the swimmer. We know the swimmer took 1 hour. 10 minutes less than 1 hour is 50 minutes. Then our final goal is finding speed. So speed is distance divided by time. Make sure you don't write down as a 50, change this into the fraction. So that's why 50 out of 60, I'm gonna put as a 5/6. Now I'm gonna change it 2.5 into fraction. So 25/10 divided by 5/6. And now division into times. Then you flip over your fractions, so 6/5. Then you simplify it by 2. Then you can simplify 5 again, right? So now your answer is 3 kilometer per hour. Now we found our speed for yacht is 3 kilometer per hour. Now let's move on to the next question. We keep writing all our information. Then next question is, the canoe is 100 meters behind when swimmer actually reached the island. That means when time is 1 hour, the canoe only reached 2.4 kilometers. So let's see. So let's talk about the distance of the canoe is 2.4 kilometers because it says 100 meters behind when swimmer reached the island. That is 1 hour, right? Then in that point, the canoe is 100 meters behind. That's why the canoe traveled 2.4 kilometers. And as we know that time is 1 hour as the swimmer already reached the island, so 1 hour. Then from this information, we can calculate the speed of the canoe, right? So the speed is distance divided by time. So that is 2.4 kilometers per hour. So now we know that speed of canoe is 2.4 kilometers per hour. But the question is, how much longer will the canoe take to reach the island if they continue to travel at the same speed? So speed, you don't change your speed, but what we found is it's only covered 2.4 kilometers. What we need to know is we need to find the distance of 2.5, right? So let's calculate the distance of 2.5 kilometers. Then with the same speed, then we can figure it out the time. In order to cover the 2.5 kilometers, the speed is same distance. That's why we can copy the 2.4 kilometer per hour. Then we can calculate the time. So time is distance divided by speed. 2.5 divided by 2.4 less times by 10 each. That is 25 over 24 hour. This is hour. It's 1 and 1/24th, right? You need to calculate how much longer the canoe takes compared to the swimmer. So as we know that swimmer took only 1 hour to reach the island, but the canoe actually it took 1 hour and 1/24th hour longer. That means you need to convert 1 hour of 24 into minutes, right? So times by 60, and then you simplify 6, then we can figure out how many minutes. 1/24th. That is 2.5 minutes. So that means actually canoe takes 1 hour and 2.5 minutes to get to the island. So, but question is asking how much longer. That's why we can answer 2.5 minutes longer than the swimmer. This is our final question. Now we need to find the median speed in kilometer per hour over 3 competitors in the race. So we've got a swimmer, canoe, and yacht. The median, you need to find the median. What is median? Median is the type of average. That is the middle value of the data when you organize your data from the ascending order. So you need to put your speed into the ascending order. Let's circle the order speed. Say 2.4 and then 1 kilometer per hour and 3 kilometers. These are the speed of the 3 players. Then you put it into ascending order. And what is the middle value? That is a median. That is 2.4. So 2.4 kilometer per hour is the median speed. So this is all about the speed topic. Then now once you are confident over this topic, then you need to move on to the speed topic combined with the graph. So before moving on the graph topic, I want you to get used to this one by practicing a lot. As always, thank you for watching and I will see you at the next topic. Bye!